Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a place where you can be still. Let your eyes soften, or close them if you wish. Let the weight of the day begin to dissolve from your shoulders, from your hands, from your mind. We are not here to add anything to your life tonight. We are here to gently remember what has always been there, beneath the hurry, beneath the noise. For the next while, we will explore a simple, profound truth. That your deepest peace is not something you find in the world, but something you protect within yourself. And the most powerful way to protect it is often through a quiet, graceful withdrawal, a silent walking away. If the stillness you find here speaks to you, you are always welcome to return. Consider subscribing to Monk's Temple as a simple, gentle way to mark this path for yourself, so you can always find your way back to this quiet refuge. There is no obligation, only an open invitation. Now, let us begin with a story about roots. Imagine an ancient, towering redwood tree. Its bark is thick and resilient, its branches reach high into the sky, touching the clouds. On the ground, life is noisy. Animals scurry, insects buzz, wind rustles through the ferns. Storms crash through the forest, and the tree sways, its limbs creaking. But the redwood does not fight the storm. It does not argue with the wind. Its secret is not in its height, but in its depth. Beneath the surface, its roots spread wide and interlock with the roots of other redwoods. They hold each other, anchored in the dark, silent earth. The noise of the world happens around the tree. But the life, the stability, the unwavering presence of the tree comes from its connection to what is unseen and silent below. You are this tree. Your thoughts, your reactions, your busy life. These are the branches and leaves, swaying in the weather of daily events. But your peace, your true stability, is your root system. It is your connection to your own quiet center, your values, your breath, the silent witness inside you that watches everything come and go. We suffer when we forget we are the tree, and instead, we believe we are the weather. We think we must become the storm to survive it. We exhaust ourselves trying to control the wind, the rain, the chaos around us. But the tree knows a wiser way. It remains rooted. It allows. It endures. It grows, not in spite of the storms, but because of the deep, silent nourishment it draws from its source. This is a core teaching in Buddhism, that our suffering, dukkha, often springs from this very confusion. We uproot ourselves. We disconnect from our own center and try to plant our sense of self in the shifting, unstable ground of other people's opinions, in the temporary highs of achievement, in the fragile glass of a perfect circumstance. When these inevitably change, as all things do, we feel upended, lost, anxious. We wither because we've been trying to draw water from a well that was never our own. The first step back to peace is not to chase better weather. It is to sink your roots deeper into your own being. I remember a woman I knew years ago. Let's call her Anya. Anya was a brilliant, compassionate soul who believed her purpose was to be a bridge for everyone. If two friends were fighting, she was the peacemaker. If a family member was struggling, she was the counselor. If a project at work was faltering, she was the one who stayed late to mend it. Her calendar was a tapestry of other people's emergencies, and she wore her exhaustion like a badge of honor. She believed her value was in her usefulness, in her ability to hold space for chaos. But slowly, a hollow feeling grew inside her. She felt like a beautiful, ornate vase that was constantly being used to carry other people's murky water. The vase was never empty, never clean, never admired for its own form. It was just a container, growing stained and tired. One evening, after a particularly draining day of solving problems she didn't create, she sat in her silent kitchen. The silence felt accusing, empty. But as she sat, a single, clear thought arose, not from her tired mind, but from a deeper place. What if I am not a vase? What if I am the water itself? This question changed everything. A vase is defined by what it holds. It is at the mercy of what is poured into it. But water is fluid. It can be poured, yes, but it also flows. It finds its own level. It can be still and reflective as a mountain lake, or powerful and shaping as a river. It cleanses itself. It evaporates and returns as rain. It is essential, but it cannot be permanently contained. Anya realized she had been trying to be the container for everyone else's emotions, when her true nature was to be fluid, to be alive, to flow in her own direction. She began, very quietly, to stop volunteering her vase. She didn't announce her retirement from bridge building. She simply started saying, with gentle firmness, I need to sit with this myself first, or, I trust you to find your own solution. She created small, silent spaces in her days that were for her own reflection, not for managing others. At first, people were confused. Some were upset. The silence felt, to them, like neglect. But for Anya, the silence was the sound of her own roots finally drinking from her own source. In that quiet, she began to remember who she was before she became the designated vase. She rediscovered a love for painting, for long walks with no destination, for simply staring at the sky. Her energy, which had been leaking out in 1,000 directions, began to pool within her. She became calmer, clearer. And a beautiful thing happened. The people who truly valued her, not just her function, began to meet her in this new, calm space. They didn't bring their murky water. They came to share the sunlight by her clear pond. Anya's story is a story of silent reclamation. She didn't walk away from people, she walked away from a role. She returned to her own nature. Buddhism teaches the concept of anatta, often translated as non-self. This isn't a bleak idea that you don't exist. It is a liberating insight that you are not any single, fixed thing, not your job, not your relationship status, not your past mistakes, not even your current anxiety. You are a flowing, changing process. Like water. When you identify rigidly as the fixer, the pleaser, the victim, or the achiever, you confine this vast, fluid process into a small, fragile vase. You suffer when the vase cracks. Silent walking away is the act of recognizing the vase is not you. It is gently setting down a container you've outgrown, so you can experience yourself as the boundless, adaptable flow of life itself. This brings us to a subtle but vital distinction. The difference between solitude and loneliness. Our world often conflates them, fearing both equally. Loneliness is the ache of disconnection. It is the feeling that you are separate, lacking, missing a piece that someone else must provide. It is a hungry silence. Solitude, in contrast, is the richness of communion with yourself. It is the feeling of being whole, present, and intimately connected to your own existence. It is a nourishing silence. The journey from fearing loneliness to embracing solitude is walked entirely on the quiet path. It requires you to face the hungry silence and discover, to your astonishment, that you are not empty. You are full of a universe of thoughts, sensations, memories, and potentials. You are simply unacquainted with your own interior landscape. Think of your mind as a vast, old library. Loneliness is standing in the center, complaining that no one is there to read to you, while being surrounded from floor to ceiling with the most fascinating, profound books ever written, the book of your childhood wonder, the book of your resilience, the book of your secret dreams, the book of lessons learned from heartbreak. Solitude is the quiet, joyful act of taking one of those books off the shelf, curling up in a window seat, and getting lost in your own story. Walking away from draining social noise is often the first step toward finally hearing the wisdom in your own library. I once spent time near a wide, slow desert. At night, the sky was an immense black canvas, and the stars were breathtakingly clear. A local elder told me, the stars are always there. Even in the day, even in the city with all its lights. We just cannot see them. The light we make ourselves is what blinds us to the greater light. Our inner peace is like those eternal stars. It is a constant, silent presence within us. But we cover it with the frantic, artificial light of our own doing, our worries, our scrolling, our constant communication, our need to be seen and validated. We create so much inner light pollution that we can no longer see the serene, guiding constellations of our own spirit. Walking away silently, creating periods of non-doing and non-stimulation, is like traveling away from the city lights. It is not creating peace. It is turning down your own noise so that the inherent, celestial peace within you can become visible again. It is remembering that you have an inner cosmos, vast and beautiful, that requires darkness, the fertile, quiet darkness of introspection, to be seen. So, how do we start this practice? We start with the guardianship of our attention. Your attention is the most sacred resource you possess. It is the brush with which you paint your reality. Where you place it, you give energy and life. If you constantly focus on lack, you feed lack. If you constantly focus on gossip, you feed drama. If you constantly focus on old hurts, you keep them alive. The first, most powerful form of silent walking away is not physical. It is attentional. It is the gentle, internal turning of your gaze from the storm clouds to the clear sky that holds them. When a thought arises that says, "What did they mean by that?" you have a choice. You can follow that thought down a rabbit hole of imagined scenarios, past conversations, future confrontations. Or, you can acknowledge the thought like a cloud passing in your mental sky, "Ah, there's the story-making cloud," and return your attention to your breath. To the feeling of your feet on the floor. To the sound of the wind outside. This is not suppression. It is conscious curation. You are choosing which seeds to water in the garden of your mind. You are silently walking away from the weed of unproductive worry, and walking toward the flower of present moment awareness. This is the essence of mindfulness, a heart of Buddhist practice. It is not about achieving a blank mind. It is about becoming the aware, compassionate space in which thoughts and feelings arise and pass away. You are the sky, not the weather. When you identify as the angry storm cloud, you are tossed about by its winds. When you remember you are the sky, you can hold the storm with vast, silent stability, knowing it will change form and eventually pass. Your peace is the sky nature of your own awareness. It can never be destroyed by the temporary weather of your life. Let this understanding settle into you now. You are the redwood, rooted in silent being. You are the water, not the vase. You are the librarian of your own rich inner world. You are the sky, holding the weather of your experiences. Your peace is not out there. It is in here. And you protect it not by building walls against the world, but by tending to the quiet, sacred space within. Let us go deeper into the quiet. In the space we've created, let's explore a concept that often feels like a betrayal, but in truth, is one of the purest forms of self-respect: outgrowing. Life is not a static portrait. It is a river, carving its path in continuous flow. You are not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, even yesterday. Your cells renew, your thoughts evolve, your understanding deepens with each experience. This is natural. This is life expressing itself through you. But here is where gentle suffering can enter. Sometimes, the people, places, and habits that once fit you perfectly, like a favorite, worn-in coat, begin to feel restrictive. The sleeves are too short. The fabric, once comforting, now feels heavy and no longer suits the climate of your soul. This is not a failure of the coat. And it is not a failure of you. It is simply a sign of growth. Buddhism holds the truth of impermanence, anicca, at its very center. Everything that arises will pass away. Every condition will change. This includes your own identity, your preferences, and your relational worlds. To cling to what was, in the face of what is to cling to a ghost. It is to whisper to a shadow, asking it to become solid again. The pain of outgrowing comes not from the growth itself, but from our resistance to it. We feel guilty for changing. We fear the silent, unknown space between who we were and who we are becoming. I want to tell you about a potter I once met. His studio was filled with shelves of beautiful, finished pots, glazed, fired, complete. But in the corner, on his main wheel, was always a lump of wet, unformed clay. He said to me, "People admire the pots on the shelf. They see the final product, the beautiful shape. But my love is for the clay on the wheel. For its potential. To make a new pot, I cannot be attached to the last one I made. I must wet my hands, center the new clay, and begin again, with empty hands." He then pointed to a shelf of older pots, their styles slightly different. "See those? I made those when I was trying to please a certain gallery. When I was afraid of silence, so I made too much, too fast. They are technically fine, but they have no breath in them. They came from fear, not from stillness. Now," he said, placing his hands gently on the wet clay, "I sit with the silence first. I listen. The pot is already in the clay. My job is to remove what isn't the pot. You are that clay on the wheel. Your life is the pot taking form. The people and situations of your past are like those older pots on the shelf. They were true expressions of who you were then. They held water for you for a time. But if you spend all your energy polishing those old pots, dusting them, rearranging them on the shelf, you have no hands free for the wet, living clay of your present becoming. Outgrowing is the sacred, sometimes bittersweet, act of acknowledging the old pot with gratitude. Thank you for holding my flowers when I needed you to, and then turning your full, gentle attention back to the wheel. Back to the silent, potent, unformed possibility of what you are creating now. It doesn't mean you smash the old pots. It means you give them an honorable place on the shelf of your memory, while you commit to the alive, shaping process of this moment. This is where silent departure finds its wisdom. You don't need a dramatic speech to an old pot. You don't need to explain to the clay of last year why you must work with the clay of today. You simply turn, with quiet focus, to what is before you now. In human terms, this might mean the conversations that once lasted for hours now feel like speaking different languages. The shared hobbies that once brought joy now feel like empty routines. It's not that the other person is bad, or that you are somehow better. It's that your souls are working with different clay, on different wheels, listening for different forms in the silence. To force continued fusion is to create something misshapen, a pot that cannot hold water, a connection that cannot hold truth. Buddha taught that attachment to form leads to suffering. We get attached to the form of a relationship, the rituals, the labels, the daily patterns, even when the life, the shared silence, the mutual growth has evaporated from it. We are worshipping the empty vase, terrified of the fertile void that could replace it. But nature is not terrified of voids. The empty nest is not a tragedy, it is evidence of flight. The fallen leaf is not an ending, it is nourishment for the roots. The silent space between musical notes is what gives the melody its rhythm and meaning. So, how do you know when you are outgrowing? Your body will tell you. Your spirit will whisper. You will feel a gentle, persistent tug away from certain engagements. It's not hatred. It's a quiet homesickness for your own authenticity. You'll feel tired after interactions that used to energize you. You'll find yourself needing more time alone, not as an escape, but as a necessity, like a plant leaning toward a new angle of light. You'll start to edit your life instinctively, pulling back from commitments that drain your clarity. These are not signs of antisocial behavior. They are the symptoms of a soul undergoing a silent metamorphosis. The caterpillar does not consult the other caterpillars when it feels the urge to spin a chrysalis. It obeys a deeper, organic intelligence. Let me share a story about light. I knew a lighthouse keeper who lived on a small, rocky island. His job was to maintain the great lamp that cut through the fog and guided ships. For years, he took immense pride in his work. But as he grew older, he began to feel a strange longing. He was so focused on projecting light outward, on being a fixed point for others, that he never experienced true darkness. He never saw the stars, because his own light washed them out. One windless night, there was a mechanical failure. The great lamp went dark. At first, panic seized him. The ships. The safety. But as he rushed to fix it, he stumbled outside and looked up. The night sky, freed from the glare of his lamp, was revealed in its full, majestic glory. Milky Way, planets, endless depth. He sat down on the cold rock, stunned into silence. He had been pouring all his energy into a single, powerful beam, missing the infinite, gentle starlight that was always there. The failure of his lamp was not a disaster, it was an invitation. He repaired it the next day, but something had changed. He now made time to sit in the deliberate darkness, to let the universe pour its ancient quiet into him. His guiding beam became wiser, kinder, because it was now fueled not just by duty, but by the awe he found in the silent dark. Are you a lighthouse, so busy projecting, guiding, and warning that you've forgotten how to sit in your own nourishing darkness? To outgrow is sometimes to allow a light to go dark, the light of a certain role, a certain expectation, a certain version of yourself that you've been maintaining for others. In that darkness, you discover a whole new galaxy inside yourself. Your inner stars. Your true navigation points. Walking away silently is often just this, turning off an artificial, exhausting light so you can see by your own celestial glow. This practice requires immense trust. Trust that your growth is natural. Trust that the silent space you create will not remain empty, but will attract what is meant for the person you are becoming. It is the trust of a gardener who pulls up a thriving, flowering plant because it is the wrong season for it, believing in the barren-looking soil's potential for a different, more appropriate bloom. You must trust the soil of your own soul. In this quiet, consider one relationship, one habit, one commitment that feels like that old coat, familiar but restrictive. Don't force anything. Just ask, in your heart, have I outgrown this? Listen not for a shouted answer, but for the subtle, physical response. A tightening in the chest. A sigh of relief. Honor that whisper. It is the voice of your growing roots, your evolving clay, your inner stars asking for their turn to guide you. Now, let's explore the shield you already possess, one that requires no forging, only your conscious choice, the power of non-reaction. In a world that demands instant opinions, immediate comebacks, and constant engagement, your most profound strength may be found in a sacred pause. Between what happens and what you do, there exists a sliver of eternity. In that space lives your freedom. Imagine you are standing by a deep, clear mountain pool. The water is so still it perfectly mirrors the sky and the trees. Now, someone nearby picks up a stone and throws it into the center of the pool. Plunk. What happens? The water reacts. It must. Ripples radiate outward in perfect circles, distorting the reflection, churning the surface. This is natural. This is physics. You are that pool. The stone is a harsh word, a perceived slight, a demand, a drama. Your nervous system, your emotions, they will feel the impact. The ripple of anger, hurt, or anxiety will arise. This is not wrong. It is human. But here is where your power lies. You are not the water being disturbed. You are the awareness that contains the entire pool. You can watch the ripples rise and fall without throwing another stone in after them. Buddhism speaks deeply to this with the concept of upekkha, or equanimity. It is the balanced heart. It is the mental state that remains unswayed, not because it is cold or numb, but because it is rooted in a deeper understanding than the temporary splash of events. The balanced heart knows the ripples will settle. It knows the pool's true nature is clarity and stillness. Your reaction, the second stone you throw in your own pool, is what turns a single ripple into a prolonged storm. That second stone has a name, it is your story. How dare they? This always happens to me. I must set them straight. This story is the stone of your ego, thrown in to defend, to justify, to win. And all it does is keep the water churned up long after the first stone has sunk to the bottom. I remember a master weaver I read about long ago. She created tapestries for a great temple. Her work was known for its profound sense of peace. A younger, agitated weaver came to her, frustrated. "My tapestries always look chaotic, full of conflict," he said. "I use the same threads, the same techniques. What is your secret?" The old weaver invited him to watch her work. For a long time, she simply sat before the loom. She did not touch a thread. She breathed. She looked at the pattern sketched beside her. Finally, with exquisite slowness, she selected a thread and passed it through. Then she stopped again. She sat back. She closed her eyes for a moment. "What are you doing in those pauses?" the young man asked, impatient. "I am waiting," she said, "for the echo of the last thread to settle. If I move too quickly, the energy of my hurry, my frustration, my desire to be done, gets woven into the cloth. The cloth holds the energy of the maker. I am waiting for my inner stillness to return, so that only stillness is woven." She wasn't just weaving a tapestry, she was weaving her state of mind into a permanent form. Every time you react impulsively, you are weaving your agitation, your hurt, your defensiveness into the fabric of your life and your relationships. The practice of non-reaction is that sacred pause at the loom. It is waiting for the inner echo to settle so that your next word, your next action, can be threaded from a spool of peace, not a tangle of reaction. This is not passive. It is fiercely active. It is the action of guarding your inner sanctum. Think of your mind as a gracious, ancient temple. Your peace is the silent altar at its center. When someone shouts from the portico, you have a choice. You can run to the entrance, shout back, and engage in a noisy argument on the steps, dragging the conflict into the sacred halls. Or, you can remain seated at the altar in the deep interior. You can hear the shouting, acknowledge it is happening, but you choose not to leave your center to go and fight on their battlefield. Your silent presence at the altar is not weakness. It is a statement of profound priority. The peace within this temple is more important to me than the noise at its door. Often, when you refuse to come to the door, the shouting loses its purpose and fades away. You have protected the sanctuary of your own spirit. Let me tell you a story about my grandmother's garden. She had a beautiful, thriving plot, but right on the other side of the fence was a neighbor's yard that was constantly in chaos, overgrown, noisy with loud machinery, a source of weeds that would creep through the fence. As a child, I watched her, season after season. She never complained to the neighbor. She never yelled over the fence. Every morning, she would go to her garden. She would gently pull the invasive weeds from her soil. She would water her plants. She would train her vines up their own trellises. She would harvest what was ripe. Her focus was absolute, on nurturing her own defined plot. Over the years, her garden became so lush, so vibrant, so clearly defined, that it seemed to generate its own peaceful atmosphere. The chaos on the other side of the fence became irrelevant. It was just background noise. She had not changed the neighbor. She had changed the quality of the space she tended, and in doing so, the chaos lost its power to disturb her. Your energy is your garden. Non-reaction is the daily, gentle work of pulling the weeds of other people's negativity from your soil, and faithfully watering the seeds of your own calm. You cannot control the neighbor's yard. But you can decide, with silent consistency, what grows in yours. Buddha taught that we are heirs to our own actions, our own karma. This is often misunderstood as a cosmic scorecard. It is more intimate than that. It is the direct cause and effect of your mental and emotional choices. When you react with hatred, you inherit the inner experience of being a hateful person, your body tenses, your mind darkens, your peace flees. When you react with patience, even silent patience, you inherit the inner experience of a patient person, your body relaxes, your mind clears, your peace remains. The other person's behavior grants them their own inheritance. Your reaction grants you yours. Non-reaction is the conscious choice to disinherit the chaos they are offering you. It is saying, that mental state is not one I wish to live in. I choose a different inheritance. So, in the moment of provocation, practice becoming the deep pool, not the ripple. Feel the stone hit. Acknowledge the splash. Then, turn your awareness to the depths below, which remain untouched. Breathe into those depths. In that pause, ask this simple question: will this response nourish my peace, or poison it? The answer, in the clarity of the pause, is almost always immediate. It may guide you to speak a truth with calm firmness. More often, it will guide you to a silence that speaks louder than any retort. That silence is not empty. It is full of your unshakable respect for your own inner temple. This is the quiet path of the warrior of peace. Your armor is not iron, but awareness. Your sword is not steel, but discernment. Your victory is not in dominating another, but in preserving the sovereign territory of your own heart. You walk away from the battlefield not in defeat, but in the supreme triumph of choosing where you will place your precious energy. Let's turn our attention now to a force so subtle, yet so powerful, it shapes the very landscape of your life, your personal energy. It is not a metaphor. It is the currency of your spirit, the vital, flowing essence that powers your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your presence. And one of the most profound applications of Buddhist wisdom is learning to be a wise steward of this inner wealth. To understand that not every open hand deserves your gold. Imagine your energy as a gentle, golden light that emanates from your center. In a state of peace, this light glows steadily, warming you, illuminating your path, and creating a soft, inviting atmosphere around you. Now, think of every interaction, every thought, every demand on your attention as a conduit. Some conduits are like clear glass. They allow your light to pass through to illuminate something beautiful, and they reflect light back to you. A conversation with a kindred spirit, time in nature, creative work, these are clear conduits. But other conduits are like jagged, soot-blackened pipes. When you connect your light to them, they don't reflect. They don't illuminate. They only drain. They suck the light away, leaving you feeling dimmed, cold, and depleted. A conversation fueled by complaint, a relationship of constant demand, the compulsive consumption of fear-based news, these are draining conduits. The practice of silent walking away is, at its core, the gentle act of disconnecting your precious light from the blackened pipes. You are not cutting off the person at the other end, you are simply refusing to let your life force be siphoned through a dysfunctional, draining connection. You reclaim your plug. You return your light to your own center, where it can restore its glow. I once learned a powerful lesson from a violin maker. He showed me 2 violins. One was exquisitely crafted from aged, resonant woods. The other was a cheap factory copy. Play a note on each, he said. I did. The fine violin responded with a rich, complex, living tone that seemed to fill the room and vibrate in my chest. The factory violin produced a thin, flat, tinny sound. The difference, he explained, is not just the wood or the craft. It is how the instrument receives and transforms energy. The good violin is like a sensitive soul. It receives the energy of the bow and the string, and it transforms it into something beautiful, adding its own resonance from the depth of its being. The poor violin is like a numb soul. It dissipates the energy. It loses it. It cannot transform, it only makes noise. Then he said something I've never forgotten: you must be careful what you allow to play you. If life draws its bow across your strings with anger, or greed, or frantic haste, what tone will you produce? Will you transform that energy into wisdom, or will you just make a tired, discordant noise? Sometimes, you must mute the strings until the player changes their song, or leaves the room. This is a reflection of the Buddhist principle of right effort. It is not about efforting more. It is about applying effort wisely, cultivating wholesome states and relinquishing unwholesome ones. Pouring your energy into a resentful thought is unwise effort. Withdrawing your attention from that thought and placing it on your breath is wise effort. It is a silent, internal walking away from a drain and toward a source. Let me share an original story about two neighboring villages. They were separated by a wide, calm river. Village A was peaceful. Its people spent their days in mindful work, in conversation, in care for their gardens and their children. Their energy was like the river, flowing, clear, sustaining. Village B, directly across the water, was filled with strife. Arguments were constant, trust was low, and fear was high. Their energy was like a stagnant, churned-up swamp. One year, a great drought came. The river level dropped, revealing a path of stones between the two villages. For the first time, people could easily walk across. The people of Village B, driven by their fear and lack, began to cross the stones. They came not with malice, but with their own anxious energy. Demanding resources, spreading gossip, bringing their disputes. The people of Village A, being kind, tried to help. They shared food, mediated arguments, listened to complaints. But soon, they began to feel it. Their peaceful rhythm was shattered. Their energy was being siphoned away to manage chaos they did not create. Their clear river was being muddied. The wise elder of Village A gathered everyone. He did not suggest building a wall or starting a war. He said, "We cannot change the nature of Village B. But we can protect the nature of Village A. The river has receded, but we do not have to walk the stone path. Let us pull our attention, our labor, and our social energy back from the middle of the river. Let us tend to our own village with even more love and focus. The stones will remain, but we will not frequent them." They did this. They became politely, kindly, inwardly focused. They stopped engaging in the cross-river drama. Without an audience or a participant, the draining energy from Village B had nowhere to land. It simply swirled on its own side of the river. Eventually, the rains returned. The river rose, covering the stones again. The separation was restored, but the true lesson was the conscious, silent withdrawal that happened before the waters rose. They protected their energy by choosing where to place their attention and engagement. Your mind is Village A. The draining influences in your life are Village B. The stone path is your attention. You have the power, at any moment, to stop walking that path. To pull your social, emotional, and mental energy back to your own shore. To tend to your own garden with such focus that the noise from across the water becomes irrelevant background sound. This is not heartlessness. It is the ultimate responsibility for your own inner ecosystem. Buddha taught about the senses and their contact with the world. When a pleasing sight contacts the eye, craving can arise. When a harsh sound contacts the ear, aversion can arise. But between the contact and the craving or aversion, there is a gap, a space where you can choose your relationship to the stimulus. Protecting your energy is about widening that gap. It is about hearing the harsh sound and, instead of immediately tensing and launching into a story about it, simply noting sound. Then returning to the feeling of your breath. You break the chain of energy drainage at its very first link. So, tonight, bring to mind one conduit that feels like a blackened pipe, a relationship, a habit, a form of media that consistently leaves you feeling drained. Don't judge it. Don't declare war on it. Simply, in the quiet of your awareness, visualize gently unplugging your light from it. See your golden light retracting, flowing back into your center, growing brighter and warmer within you. This is a silent, internal act of reclamation. It is you choosing to be the fine violin, reserving your resonance for the music that deserves it, and muting the strings for the noise that does not. Your energy is sacred. Guard it with the quiet fervor of a monk guarding a silent temple. Now, let's speak of a quiet rebellion, one that happens within the soul. It is the act of detaching not with a slam, but with a sigh of peace. It is the art of letting go before the universe forces your hand, before the lesson becomes a wound, before your spirit is too exhausted to stand. This is not abandonment, it is advanced spiritual awareness. There is a profound teaching in Buddhism about the two arrows. The Buddha said, when touched with a feeling of pain, the uninstructed worldling sorrows, grieves, and laments, beats his breast, becomes distraught. So he feels two pains, physical and mental. Just as if they were to shoot a man with an arrow and, right afterward, were to shoot him with another arrow, so that he would feel the pains of two arrows. The first arrow is the event itself, the betrayal, the loss, the harsh word. It hits. It causes pain. This is inevitable in a human life. The second arrow, however, is all our own making. It is the story we tell, the resentment we nurse, the endless replay, the why me, the clinging to what is already gone. This second arrow is the source of our deepest, most prolonged suffering. It is optional. Walking away silently is, in its highest form, the refusal to shoot yourself with the second arrow. It is seeing the first arrow fly, feeling its sting, and then, with immense self-compassion, choosing not to spend the next hours, weeks, or years manufacturing more arrows in your own mind and firing them into your own heart. You feel the pain. You acknowledge it. You tend to the wound. But you do not build a monument to the archer on the battlefield of your mind. I recall a story about a master calligrapher. A student watched him for days as he prepared to write a single, sacred character on a vast scroll. The student saw him meditate, grind his ink with slow, circular patience, and smooth the paper. Finally, the master lifted his brush, poised it over the pristine surface, and then set it down again. He rolled up the scroll, put it away, and began to clean his tools. The student was confused. "Master, you did not write. After all that preparation." The master smiled. The preparation was not for the writing. It was to achieve the mind worthy of the writing. Today, my mind achieved clarity, but it did not achieve lightness. There was a subtle weight. A memory of an old irritation was present. If I had written with that weight in my spirit, the character would have been technically perfect, but it would have carried the energy of that old shadow. It would have been a beautiful lie. Better to write nothing today than to enshrine a hidden tension in permanent ink. He was detaching from the expectation, even his own, to produce. He was honoring the truth of his inner climate over the calendar. He walked away from the act to preserve the purity of the art, and of his own spirit. We are all calligraphers, writing the character of our lives with our choices, our words, our presence. How often do we write with the hidden weight of obligation, of fear, of unprocessed hurt? We show up to relationships, to jobs, to conversations with old arrows still lodged in our energy, and we wonder why the connection feels heavy, why the ink bleeds. Detaching before you're forced to is the wisdom of the calligrapher. It is sensing the subtle weight before you make the irreversible stroke. It is choosing to roll up the scroll for today, to walk away from the interaction that already feels draining in anticipation, to cancel the commitment made from guilt rather than genuine desire. It is preventing the beautiful lie. This requires a deep friendship with your own intuition. That inner whisper that says, "This is not right for me," long before the external evidence is clear. We often override this whisper with logic. "But I promised, but they'll be upset, but it looks good on paper." We march toward the cliff edge because the map says there's a path, silencing the body's instinct that feels the ground growing unstable. Buddha's path is one of direct experience and mindful investigation. It asks you to trust the data of your own felt sense. Anxiety in your belly before a meeting is data. Dread in your heart at the thought of a social event is data. A feeling of lightness and expansion when thinking of a certain person is data. This is your inner weather system, and it is telling you the truth about your alignment. So, practice the art of preemptive release. Look gently at the commitments on your horizon, the relationships in your orbit. Without judgment, scan your body as you consider each one. Where do you feel tension? Where do you feel ease? The ones that bring tension, ask, is this a first arrow of necessary growth, or is this the precursor to me shooting a dozen second arrows at myself? If it's the latter, can you, with the quiet dignity of the calligrapher, roll up the scroll? Can you decline, distance, or disengage now, with grace, rather than later with resentment? This is the ultimate act of self-care. It is not avoiding pain, it is avoiding the unnecessary, self-inflicted suffering of the second arrow. You are clearing the battlefield of your own mind, leaving no ammunition for a war against yourself. Let's explore a quiet truth about growth. The most powerful transformations are not announced. They are lived. They happen in the unseen chambers of the heart, in the silent choices that no one applauds. Your evolution has its own integrity, and it does not require a witness. Think of a seed buried in the winter earth. Above ground, there is nothing to see. Only bare soil, stillness, perhaps a covering of snow. It is a silent, seemingly empty time. But below the surface, in the secret dark, the seed is undergoing a profound rupture. Its hard shell softens and breaks. A tiny root reaches down, and a pale shoot reaches up, guided by an intelligence that needs no light to know its direction. This process cannot be rushed. It cannot be put on display. It must happen in the privacy of the dark. To dig it up to check on its progress would be to kill it. Your spiritual growth is often exactly this. The period of greatest change can look, from the outside, like withdrawal, like quiet, like doing nothing. It is the essential, dark incubation. Buddhism values this inward turning. The path involves samatha, calm abiding, and vipassana, clear seeing. Both are interior practices. The insights that reshape your life come not from consuming more information, but from the silent digestion of your own experience. They come when you stop broadcasting and start receiving. When you turn down the volume of the world to hear the subtle narrative of your own soul. This is why silent walking away is so fertile. It creates the psychological and energetic dark earth necessary for your seed to split open and send down roots. I knew a musician who played in grand concert halls. His life was one of travel, applause, and brilliant lights. After years of this, he fell into a deep fatigue, a sense of emptiness he called the echo after the note. He did something radical. He moved to a small cabin in a remote place with no internet. He told no one his plans. He brought only his instrument and a few books. For a year, he did not perform. He did not compose for an audience. In the deep quiet, he would play only when moved, sometimes just a single note, listening to its decay into the forest silence. He watched the seasons. He listened to bird calls and the wind. He said later that in that year of outward silence, he heard the music he had been trying to find all his life. It wasn't in the scales or the techniques. It was in the space between the sounds of the natural world. When he eventually returned to composing, his music was utterly transformed. It had depth, patience, space. It did not seek to impress, it sought to communicate the silence he had lived in. His greatest transformation happened when he was not being a musician for anyone, but simply being a man listening to the world. Your life is your instrument. Constant performance for the world, proving, explaining, defending, showcasing. Drains the music of its soul. It becomes mere noise. The silent retreat, whether for an hour, a day, or a season, is where you retune yourself to your own fundamental frequency. You are not being unproductive. You are in the dark earth, splitting open, reaching for your true roots. The people who are used to your old music may not understand the quiet. They may ask, "Where have you been? Why are you so distant?" You don't need to explain the growth of a seed. You can simply say, "I've been turning inward," and let that be enough. Your new music, when it emerges, will be its own explanation. This is aligned with the Buddha's own journey. His transformation did not happen in the palace amid luxury and praise. It happened in the forests of Uruvala, in the quiet discipline of asceticism, and finally in the deep, unwavering stillness under the Bodhi tree. The enlightenment was a private event. The teaching came afterward. The world saw the flower, but the blooming happened in solitude. So, grant yourself permission for unseen growth. Value the periods of quiet contraction, of saying no, of social simplicity. They are not gaps in your life, they are the very substance of your becoming. When you feel the urge to withdraw, to be still, to simplify your engagements, honor it as the seed honoring the dark. It is not a retreat from life. It is an advance into the interior territory where your true life is generated. Protect that sacred, silent incubation period fiercely. It is where you are rewritten from the inside out. Let's speak of a love that does not cling, a care that does not consume. We arrive at the tender, powerful practice of loving from afar. The heart often believes that to love is to be entwined, to be constantly present, to fix and to hold. But a deeper, more peaceful love understands that some connections are meant to be held not in the hand, but in the heart, not in daily contact, but in silent, spacious blessing. Buddhism cultivates the four immeasurables: loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, empathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. It is this last one, equanimity, that holds the key. It is the balanced heart that loves without attachment to outcome. It allows you to care for someone's well-being without needing to control their journey, absorb their pain, or force them onto your path. It is the love that says, "I wish for your peace and happiness, whether I am there to witness it or not." This is the foundation of loving from a distance. It is not a withdrawal of love, but a purification of it. You remove the impurities of ego, need, and expectation, leaving only the clean, bright wish for their freedom and yours. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a wide, still lake. On the other shore stands someone you care for deeply. You call out to them, but they cannot hear you. The old way would be to frantically swim the lake, exhausting yourself to deliver your message, only to arrive dripping and desperate. The way of equanimous love is to remain on your own shore, at peace. You take a beautiful, smooth stone, a stone of well-wishing, and you skim it gently across the water. It touches the surface lightly, creating perfect, expanding circles that travel all the way to the other side. You do not need to be there to deliver the blessing. The intention itself ripples across the space between you. Loving from afar is this skimming of well wishes. It is releasing the heavy weight of entangled drama and sending instead light, silent circles of peace in their direction. You are connected, but you are free. You are caring, but you are not drowning. I recall a story about two trees that grew from a single, entwined root system, a symbiotic pair. For decades, they grew together, their branches interlocking, sharing nutrients. But as they matured, a forester noticed one tree was beginning to weaken, its growth stunted, its leaves pale. It was not getting enough light, it was being overshadowed. The intuitive solution was not to cut the weaker tree down, but to carefully, surgically transplant it to a new spot several yards away, where it had its own space, its own sunlight, its own relationship with the earth. The process was delicate. For a season, both trees looked fragile, shocked by the separation. But their roots, having once been joined, remembered how to thrive. Within a few years, both trees were stronger, taller, and fuller than before. They were no longer entangled, but they stood in the same forest, each complete, contributing to the whole ecosystem in a healthier way. Sometimes, love is not about clinging to the shared root. It is about having the courage to allow a careful, necessary transplantation for the health of both souls. The forest, your life, becomes richer for it. This practice asks you to redefine what connection means. It means holding someone in your heart with kindness, while releasing them from your immediate orbit. It means praying for their joy without needing to be the source of it. It means remembering the lesson without reopening the wound. This is perhaps one of the most advanced forms of silent walking away. You walk away from the form of the relationship, while preserving the essence of goodwill. You are not burning a bridge. You are turning it into a footpath that you visit in memory, not a highway for daily, draining traffic. So, if there is someone in your life whose presence is a source of consistent turmoil, yet you feel a bond of care, consider this practice. In your quiet moments, picture them. Feel the old knots of anxiety, hurt, or obligation. Now, gently untie those knots. See them standing on the other side of your calm lake. From your place of peace, silently offer them the wish, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. Then, let the image go. You have sent the ripples. Your work is done. You do not need to check if they received them. This act is for your own heart, to transmute tangled attachment into clear, compassionate space. This is how you carry love without letting it carry you away. You honor the past by not letting it destroy your present peace. You walk away from the drama, while taking the love with you, folded quietly in your heart. Now, let us turn to the foundation upon which all this quiet strength is built, the unshakable peace that comes from within. We have spoken of walking away, of silence, of non-reaction. But these are not the source of peace, they are the guardians of it. The source is something far more profound and ever-present. It is the awareness that watches all things come and go, the silent witness that is your true home. Buddhism points repeatedly to this intrinsic nature. It is called Buddha nature, tathata, suchness, or simply, clear awareness. It is the fundamental ground of your being, untouched by passing thoughts, unchanging amid life's flux. Imagine you are watching a dramatic film. The story on the screen is full of conflict, joy, sorrow, and noise. You feel emotions, you get absorbed. But there is always a part of you, the one sitting in the theater seat, that knows it is watching a movie. That part is never truly threatened, never truly hurt by what unfolds. Your life is the film. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences are the compelling scenes. But you, the aware, conscious presence noticing it all, are the one in the seat. Your peace is found by remembering you are the watcher, not solely the character caught in the plot. The problem arises when we forget. We fuse completely with the character. We believe the pain on the screen is real and permanent. We think our identity is the sum of the script we've been given. Walking away silently, in its deepest sense, is the act of leaning back in your seat. It is creating a gap between the watcher and the watched. It is saying, this drama is happening, but I am not only this drama. I am also the space in which it is occurring. From this position, your choices change. You are no longer a leaf thrashing in a stormy river, you are the riverbank, observing the flow. You can choose which currents to engage with, and which to simply let pass by. I remember a teacher who gave me a simple, life-altering tool. He placed a small, ordinary stone in my hand. Feel its weight, its texture, he said. I did. Now, he continued, feel the hand that is feeling the stone. My attention shifted. I became aware of my palm, the nerves, the sensation of holding. Now, he said softly, be aware of you, the one who is aware of the hand holding the stone. In that moment, my awareness seemed to step back. I was no longer just the sensation, I was the conscious space containing the sensation. The stone, my hand, even the initial thought, this is a stone, all appeared within this aware space. It was a moment of profound peace. Nothing had changed externally, but everything had changed internally. I was home. This is your birthright. At any moment, you can perform this simple triage. Instead of being lost in a thought or feeling, become aware of it. You are not the anger, you are aware of the anger. You are not the worry, you are aware of the worry. This slight shift is the doorway to the unshakable. This is why silence is so potent. Noise, external and internal, keeps us fused with the character. It keeps us reacting to every line in the script. Silence allows the watcher to emerge. It gives you the interval to remember, I am here, noticing all of this. From this place, what once demanded a reaction may only merit a quiet observation. What once seemed like a catastrophe is seen as a passing scene. Your inner peace is this watcher. It cannot be disturbed, because it is not an object to be disturbed. It is the subject, the conscious light by which all objects are seen. So, as you move through your days, practice being the one in the theater seat. When a stressful situation unfolds, feel the urge to react as the character. Then, take a conscious breath and lean back internally. Think, I am the awareness watching this situation. Do this not to dissociate, but to engage from a place of centered power, not panicked reaction. From here, you can act with clarity, or choose not to act with equal clarity. Your peace is no longer dependent on the movie having a happy plot. It is dependent on your remembering that you are the watcher, and the watcher is always free. This is the ultimate homecoming. Every silent step you take away from chaos is a step toward this unshakable seat of your own awareness. Let us now gently explore the landscape that appears when you have walked the quiet path for some time. It is a landscape not of emptiness, but of profound richness. It is the discovery that in the silence, you have not been left with nothing. You have been returned to everything that truly matters, the simple, essential truths of your own existence. This is where you realize that peace was never an achievement, but a homecoming. There is a beautiful concept in Zen Buddhism known as Shoshin, the beginner's mind. It is a mind that is open, eager, free from the preconceptions and habits that accumulate over a lifetime. It sees the world with fresh eyes. Interestingly, the long journey of letting go, of walking away from old stories and noisy attachments, often culminates in this very state. You shed not to become empty, but to become open again. Like a room cleared of clutter, the space is now free to hold the present moment in all its vivid, simple immediacy. The sound of rain is no longer just background noise to your worry, it is a symphony. The taste of tea is no longer an automatic ritual, it is a universe of sensation. The smile from a stranger is no longer ignored, it is a tiny, perfect gift. This is the reward of the quiet path. Your senses come alive because your mind is no longer shouting over them. I recall a man who, after a lifetime in a bustling city, retired to a small cottage by a vast, silent moor. For the first few months, he said the silence was deafening. He felt antsy, lonely, and plagued by the echoes of his own thoughts. He missed the noise. But he stayed. He began to take daily walks with no destination. At first, he walked quickly, his mind racing. Slowly, his pace matched the land. He began to notice things. The way the light changed the color of the heather from purple to gray. The specific call of a particular bird at dusk. The smell of the earth after a soft rain. One afternoon, he found himself sitting on a rock, doing absolutely nothing. He wasn't thinking about the past or planning the future. He was simply there, feeling the sun on his face, hearing the wind, watching clouds. A feeling arose in him so clear and solid he could only describe it as joy. Not the excited happiness of a city night, but a deep, quiet joy that seemed to emanate from the land itself and from his own bones. He realized the city's noise hadn't been filling a void, it had been masking this profound, ever-present aliveness. His silent walking away from the metropolis led him directly to the vibrant heart of the world. This mirrors the Buddhist understanding of samsara and nirvana. They are not two different places. Samsara is life experienced through the filter of craving, aversion, and ignorance. It is the noisy, stressful, repetitive cycle. Nirvana is the exact same life experienced directly, without that filter. It is peace, freedom, and profound connection. The peace you seek is not in a different set of circumstances. It is in a different relationship with your circumstances. Walking away from noise is the act of removing the filter. It is not rejecting life, but choosing to experience it directly, intimately, and quietly. From this place, your values naturally reorder themselves. You begin to crave simplicity over stimulation, depth over distraction, authenticity over approval. You find yourself drawn to people who also speak the language of quiet presence, not the language of drama. Your no becomes clear and guilt-free, not because you are rejecting others, but because you are wholeheartedly saying yes to your own integrity. Your yes becomes more precious and powerful because it comes from a full cup, not an empty one begging to be filled. So, consider this: the silent space you are creating by walking away is not a vacuum. It is a sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, your true self, the one that knows how to be still, how to wonder, how to appreciate a single breath, finally feels safe to emerge. This is not a passive state. It is the most active state of being, fully alive, fully present, fully at home in your own skin. You are not waiting for life to become peaceful. You are discovering that you are peace, and life is happening within you. The final act of walking away is to turn around and realize you have arrived where you always were. We have walked this quiet path together, through the forests of metaphor and the clearings of personal story. We have spoken of roots and rivers, of clay and calligraphy, of lighthouses and silent pools. Now, as we arrive at the end of our spoken journey, let this final part be a gentle integration, a reminder that all these teachings point back to a single, actionable truth that lives in the pulse of your breath and the beat of your heart. The philosophy of silent departure is not a grand, distant ideal. It is a practical, moment-by-moment homecoming. It is the choice, in the very next second, to turn down the volume of reaction and turn up the presence of peace. Buddhism, at its core, is not a belief system to adopt, but a reality to realize through your own experience. The Buddha's final words are said to have been, "Apamadina sampadetha," strive on with diligence, or, perhaps more gently, proceed with mindful care. This is not a call to frantic effort, but to a consistent, gentle remembering. Remember you are the tree, not the storm. Remember you are the sky, not the cloud. Remember you are the watcher, not solely the drama. Each time you remember, you walk away from the illusion of helpless entanglement and step into the truth of your own conscious freedom. This is your striving. This is your diligence. Let me leave you with one last, simple story. There was a young monk tasked with keeping the temple's stone pathways perfectly clean. He would sweep them diligently every morning, but by afternoon, leaves would have fallen again. He grew frustrated. "My work is meaningless," he complained to the abbot. "The path is never clean." The old abbot walked with him to the path. "The purpose is not to have a clean path," he said. The purpose is the act of sweeping. With each stroke, you are not just moving leaves. You are smoothing your own spirit. You are practicing attention. You are making a clear space for the next step, whether it is taken by you, a visitor, or simply the wind. The leaves will always fall. Your peace is found in the sweeping, not in the empty path. The monk understood. His task was not about achieving a permanent state of cleanliness, but about engaging in the transient, sacred act of clearing, again and again. Your life is this path. The leaves, the worries, the old hurts, the demands, the noisy thoughts, will always fall. Walking away silently is not a one-time event where you achieve a perfectly clean life. It is the daily, sometimes hourly, practice of sweeping your inner path. It is the gentle act of noticing a clinging thought and releasing it with a breath. It is the conscious choice to not engage in a gossipy conversation. It is the quiet decision to spend an evening in restorative solitude instead of obligatory socializing. Each of these is a stroke of the broom. Each one clears just enough space for you to take your next step with a little more ease, a little more clarity. The leaves will return. And you will sweep again. This is not failure, this is the graceful, lifelong dance of mindfulness. So, as you move forward from this shared silence, carry this simple question as your broom. In this moment, what would protect my peace? Not tomorrow. Not in the grand scheme. But right now. Would it be putting down the phone? Taking 3 conscious breaths? Postponing a difficult conversation until your center is calm? Declining an invitation with a gentle, truthful, "No, thank you"? The answer is always specific, small, and immediately within your power. This is how you walk away. Not in a single, dramatic exit, but in 1,000 tiny, silent departures from noise and toward your own serene core. You are the temple. You are the monk. You are the path and the one who walks it. The peace you have sought in other people, in achievements, in perfect conditions, has been within you all along, waiting for you to stop long enough to feel its quiet pulse. It is in the space between your thoughts. It is in the calm after an exhale. It is in the gentle refusal to add fuel to an inner fire. Thank you for walking this quiet path with me at Monk's Temple. May you carry this silence within you, not as a burden, but as a shield and a sanctuary. May you remember your own strength, and may you proceed with mindful care, sweeping your path with compassion, one peaceful breath at a time. Go in peace. Your journey continues in the beautiful, sacred quiet of your own awareness.